Hello everyone, welcome to Project Rain. This is a series of videos on the topic of mental models, and in this video we'll be talking about what exactly a mental model is and how you can apply them in your daily life and how to make the best of it, and what are the things that you should be keeping in your mind while learning mental models and as well as learning in general. So what exactly is a mental model? A mental model is simply a representation of how something works. Our brain uses models in order to simplify the complex world around us into understandable and organizable chunks. We are generally not aware of these models because they are largely subconscious, but they are the reason why that we draw inferences and match patterns. So now that we understand what a mental model is, how can we apply this into our day-to-day life? Mental models can be used in order to view a specific problems from multiple disciplines. As I said earlier, these models are largely subconscious, but when we are learning these in the future, we can learn these models from different disciplines and we can apply those concepts together into a specific problem. So that specific problem can be viewed from all of these disciplines, let it be physics, chemistry, mathematics, anything, and we can view that specific problem from all of these lenses. We can bring more clarity into that problem and understand it from a very deep perspective and try to solve that easier. So for example, a salesman would be thinking in the terms of risk and reward, and psychologists will be thinking in terms of incentives, and someone like an engineer will be thinking in terms of systems. And all of these perspectives are useful in its own way, as well as we can combine all of these things together and view a specific problem with all these three lenses, and we can try to create more clarity on that specific problem. That's essentially what mental models is, and that's why we are learning them. So having these models from different multiple disciplines will help us to be able to identify problems and identify problems that might not be even there, might not be even visible if you don't have these models from these multiple disciplines. And the problems that we don't know, that we have already, is the most worst problems that we can ever have, because the effects of that problem will be compounding day after day. So we need to understand the models from multiple disciplines. We need to learn these models from multiple disciplines in order to make our lives less stressful. The more connections that you can make for using these models, the more the solutions will be presenting themselves. So I'll explain this mental model concept with a simple example. Suppose that we are taking the mental model of gravity. So I might have an example, I might have a model of gravity and you also have a model of gravity. We know that if we drop something from our hand, it will go to the ground. And similarly, if we see something that's usually on top of a table, for example, like car keys, and if we see that on the ground, we probably know that gravity probably had a role on that. Somebody probably have pushed it or something and it fell to the ground, and gravity played a role on it. We can say that gravity, it's a lot more deeper than that. You can go to the university level and learn much more about it so that you can expand your model on gravity much more, but that is not necessary in this case. We are taking the simple model of gravity, and like I said, we know that if you drop something, it will go to the ground. We also know that if a rocket is launched into the space, and the further the rocket goes away from the Earth, the gravitational pull will decrease, and it will be easier for the rocket to move away from the Earth's gravitational pull. So this concept is actually from gravity, right? But this exact concept can be applied to something like sales. For example, if a salesman approaches you to sell something, so the salesperson knows that the more you think about making this purchase, the less likely it is to be purchased. We usually tend to not buy that specific thing, whatever it is, after a certain period of time if you're keeping on thinking about it. So they want us to buy it as soon as possible. So that's a sales concept. So right now we took a model from the gravity mental model and applied it to an entirely different problem in sales. That is how you can use mental models in your day-to-day life, and we will be looking much more examples in the future. This is just an introduction video to make you understand what is the use of this topic and how we can apply it in our day-to-day lives. And I am also including some of the things that we should be keeping in mind while learning something new. The first one is perspective. Perspective is very important when it comes to learning. So I'll explain this using a thought experiment that I believe it's from Galileo. It's a simple thought experiment. Suppose that a scientist is on a boat and he's moving very near to the shore, and I'm standing on the shore and watching this scientist do an experiment. So the experiment is very simple. He's just dropping a ball from where he's standing, and he's just dropping a ball to the ground. The ground here being the ship or the boat, whatever it is. And the scientist is watching this and is just going straight down, right? And me standing on the shore is watching the same experiment at the same time, and I can see that the ball is actually going like this or like this, depending on which direction is the boat going, right? But if the scientist and I start to talk about it, and I will be saying like, no, the ball actually went like this, and the scientist will be like, no, I saw the entire experiment, I did the experiment, I know that it just went down. So this is the importance of perspective, and we should be open to multiple perspectives in order to truly understand what we are learning and how we are thinking. And the second thing that you should keep in your mind while learning is the relation of ego and learning. So ego is a big topic. We'll be only discussing two main things regarding ego when it comes to learning. And the first one is that we usually are so afraid of putting our ideas out in the world. We will be very afraid that others will criticize our ideas, so that we fail to put our ideas out in the world. In this way, we can always stay right, and we can also criticize others for their ideas. And the second way that ego plays a role in learning is that when we actually put our ideas outside and others start to criticize those ideas, our ego will step in and try to protect our feelings. But we should probably think about that logically instead of having an emotional reaction to it. Then the third one that I have to mention is distance and feedback. So the more distant you are from getting the feedback of your actions, the more we will keep the original model that we have about something. So for example, if we touch fire, we know that it's hot and it will hurt our fingers, right? But what happens if the feedback is not that instant? We will probably keep on doing it. Like, if we only get that feedback after like 1 month, then we won't probably know. We will keep on doing it, right? So that is the importance of distance and feedback in terms of learning something. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as I said, this is just an introductory video on this entire topic, and there's multiple models, and we will take each one of them and we won't take each one of them because everything is actually not important. We need to learn the most important models and try to apply that into our daily lives. I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.